welcome back to Finally Game Music. I am your host, Kristoffer Schenström, and this is episode 136. And today we're going to talk about one specific game, which is also the thematic of this week's episode. So we're going to talk about young Merlin today. This is actually one of these games that I got recommended for the music, but also for the gameplay. So for this episode, I had to play through the whole game. I listened to all the music on repeat to just see what the hell this guy was talking about. And yeah, I got maybe not hooked, but I got surely interested in this game. First of all, when you're just looking at the package, we can see that this game, Young Merlin, was developed by the American studio Westwood Studios, which, and many of you guys already know this, but mostly this studio is known for the Command & Conquer series. So it feels so weird playing and knowing another game that is not Command & Conquer from this studio. The game, it was released back in 1993 in the US, while us in Europe had to wait until a year later, till March and 1994 for its release. The whole soundtrack was composed by three American composers, Dwight Kenichi Okahara, Frank Klepacki, which most of us know for, yes, you guessed it, the Command & Conquer series. But yeah, it seems like Frank has been with Westwood Studios for quite some time. He's still active with that studio. And then also, last but not least, Paul S. Mudra. So when we're looking at this game, what type of gameplay is it, and what's the story behind this game? So in Young Merlin, you play as the young magician Merlin, which is drawn into a fantasy world of trying to rescue a drowning young woman. This world, it is threatened by the evil Shadow King, and it is up to Merlin to save the world and also rescue the woman who has been kidnapped by the Shadow King. Young Merlin is an action-adventure game with puzzle-solving elements. You will collect both items, spells during your adventure, you will meet inhabitants of the world, and solve puzzles. This game might be suited for everybody, as this game does not have any type of text within this entire game, except for the main screen, where you have the Westwood, but when it comes to storyline and how they talk and do and represent conversation, they do not use any text whatsoever. Instead, they use icons and jibber-jabber speech to represent these conversations. So this kind of sums up the game, the introduction to it. So let's listen to the first kind of, except for the main theme, which is going in the background right now, but for the first kind of sound or music you hear when Merlin wakes up in the game. So we're going to listen to Vast Plains. This was the opening stage music for this game, the Vast Plains. So yeah, I haven't actually noted anything while playing this game. I haven't noted anything in my document, which I usually do. So yeah, I will just speak my mind of this game and what I do remember of this game. It wasn't that long ago since I played the game, because I was playing it during this week. So yeah, looking at the initial thing, when you start up the game, you get met up by the main screen, you get the main theme, and all you basically can do is just hit start. There's no, hey, start game, no options, no anything like that. So all you can basically do is just press press start, and the game will start by showing a little cinematic. In this cinematic, you will basically see young Merlin leaving the house that he's currently in. I'm just guessing it is his house. And the screen kind of just goes over to a river where we see this girl. And from there, we can just see Merlin sprinting forth towards this river and jumps in. And from there we get like this Mode 7 kind of esque thing where Merlin is basically going through a cave. And then the game starts. Merlin is waking up by like a small sandbank, and there's a bridge there. We get a sign showing off a little bottle. And by this little pond of water where the bridge is at, we also have a small, I would say a small rainbow. It's like a small waterfall, and from there comes a rainbow. So this is the rainbow pond that you're basically starting at. So in this game, you will basically go through a whole lot of different kind of skill gates. Skill gates are basically, you need something specific in order to pass this kind of well, it's like a door. You need to pass this area to get to the next area itself. So it's like a door going from one room to another one. And from here, you will basically move to the right over the bridge and keep moving to the right. And at this point, you don't really have anything to do, but quite early in this game, you will start getting your first spell, which is the yellow star power. So Merlin will basically go around and throw stars most of this game, and you don't have any specific amount of them or anything. So this is just an attack you can go around and spam how much you want. And one of the first enemies you basically meet to, for me at least, I actually started meeting this, I would say like meat-eating plants. It kind of doesn't really remind you of a piranha plant, but the damage they do to you, they kind of do. But you can't pass this area, and you're starting wondering, okay, I can't pass this. They instantly like kill me because they do so freaking much damage. You still get like this sound all the time when you take damage, and when you head into this field with these plants, that sound just go crazy. It's bananas. But yeah, you will head a little bit north and then continue to the right, so up and right, and then there you will meet your basically first enemy, which is a giant tree that is living. And when you defeat this one, you will start seeing this new kind of gnome enemy that you really can't do anything about, but every time you kind of collide with them, they're always kicking your shin in this game. And you will meet these guys a lot of times during this game as well. You will see them here and there, and they're kind of the most comedic part of this game, having these small gnome-like characters running around, and they make weird sounds as well. But you will see these guys over and over again throughout this game. But from here you will start getting your first real power-up. So the first item you get within this game, you will get the jar, so you can start filling up and start regaining health from the first pond, which is the rainbow pond. And the second one, which is the powder, or I think it just is like a magic powder of some sort. And this is the item you need basically to continue forth within this game. And you use this powder to put the plants to sleep, and from there you can just keep going and explore. And when it comes to this song, you will be listening to this song quite a lot as well, because the vast plains is basically like a small hub in the world of young Merlin. You will pass along, you have different kind of sections, you also have puzzles to solve within the vast plains. You have like a small mini-boss that you need to beat, and yeah, puzzles to solve, as I said. But yeah, you will pass along this vast plains over and over again, so you will not get tired entirely of this tune, because it's still kind of humble and really nice to listen to. So it kind of brings forth a kind of nice situation. But going around in the vast plains, you start collecting more items, and in the end you will help a small pixie. So first of all, you will go and meet the pixie saying that, oh, the gnomes have taken away my love, my pixie love, and you need to go and solve this. And they're basically, you basically get like a speech bubble saying, they're down to the right. And you will also see Merlin utilize an animation where he looks over his shoulder, looking the same way you're about to travel. And from there, you need to kind of solve the puzzles over there and save this pixie's love. And this pixie will then open up one of the next areas. There are some other areas you can go to from Vast Plains, but this is like the more official area that you can head to, which is also the more prominent path you need to go in order to progress. You will go to the city called Pinedale. And the city is not that much of a city, it's just two houses. One with a man and this woman that you found before that was drowning. And then you also meet this other crazy wizard, which kind of resembles a little bit like Mirukalix from Asterix and Obelix. But yeah, we will listen to the second tune that, well, for me, I did not listen to this tune as the second tune, but we will listen to what should be the second area you visit, which is the beauty of Pinedale. The beauty of Pinedale. So this is most likely should be the second tune you listen to, but in my opinion, it was not. I actually went into the mines before, and from what people who have played this game before know, and listening to me going into the mines first before going and solving the puzzle and going to Pinedale, you know you will get stuck there. But no time to fret. You will still get back. You can just turn back and go out of the mines, because you know you can't progress over and over again here. So here comes the bigger part of this game. Sometimes you actually need to pay real attention to the environments you're in. So when you're in the Vast Plains, you're actually going to the part where you can find the mines, which I just told you about. Outside of these mines, you will have a cart, and this cart is interactable. You don't know that, but it is. So this is the more harder part when it comes to this game. It's a lot of things, just like when you played like a Double Fine's point-and-click game. When you played like a LucasArts game or something like that, you needed to go around and you just needed to click everything. You don't need to really combine anything in Young Merlin, so there's no worries with the inventory here. It's more that it doesn't really explain that much what you need to do when you need to do it. And sometimes it's really hard figuring out that, oh, I need this, where can I find it? And you don't really see it obviously, which can basically, like I did, utilize like an hour or two just running around back and forth, not finding anything, which could in that turn also become a little bit frustrating when you play. But this is an older game. It's kind of utilizing a really good representation here, just walking around trying to gather everything. So if you're a person that has like an eye for detail and noticing stuff, then this could be a really good game for you. You don't really need to backtrack that much, at least. For me, which does not have that, I needed to backtrack a whole lot in this game, and there is a lot of backtracking within this game itself, just by itself. But when you get to Pinedale, you're opening up a little bit more. The Vast Plains and Pinedale are the bigger, like, overworld hub areas, but from Vast Plains, where you have basically the starting point and you have most of the collectible items when it comes to healing potions, for example. Beautiful Pinedale only have a more open part and utilizes puzzle solving instead. This is also a tune you will listen to a lot, because you will be going back and forth between different areas, such as dungeons and such, between these dungeons and Pinedale, and a whole lot. So you will get used to this one as well. This is also the longest song of the soundtrack, but also this song kind of reminds me more of a bardic tune, and I really do enjoy this one, because this is the area where we have more inhabitants of the world, which is not enemies. There are not that many enemies in Pinedale either. There is a giant maze, and you have enemies over there, but anywhere other than that, there's no more enemies. There's only you can walk around exploring the area, and you can, at first, when you get to Pinedale, you will basically go and get a look-see for this young beautiful woman, and this guy comes out and he gets angry, and young Merlin is hiding behind the tree, and this girl is waving at Merlin behind then the father, as you understand. You kind of get that kind of feeling when you're looking at this game. So this father is angry at you for staring at his daughter, and this daughter is waving at you, and when the father is looking back towards his daughter and complaining, oh, you cannot meet these kind of boys, they're not good for you, something like that. You just get that feeling that young Merlin is not suited for this girl. And basically these young kids are waving at each other while the father is not really aware of it, and it just becomes so humorous. I just started laughing a whole lot when I was just looking at this weird moment. But other than that, you will pass along over a bridge. You will see a portal going over there, which is not active at this point. You will get to see a stump which has a heart in it, and also you will get to the other building here with this magician, and this magician has multiple kind of puzzle solving that you need to do. And at first he just wants help with just finding a key, and that's where you need to go into the maze. In the maze you can collect more hearts and stuff like that, so you can take more damage, but also collect a flower also that you need to find as well. You don't really need to find it at this point, but since you're already in the maze, it's also good to just go around and collect everything that you find. And this is also the most obvious part, where you basically need to understand something. In Young Merlin, there's a whole lot of secrets. These secrets are basically you need to go through walls, and you don't really know where, so this is just a giant trial and error thing. But you know that, oh, there's something over here, like a power-up or an item to pick up, and then you're just going around pressing yourself against walls. But the walls are always hidden when you're going from left to right, so you don't really need to find secrets from up and down, for example. And this is also interpreted when you get into the mines as well. And I said mines because you'll be doing this multiple times as well. You will going back and forth. As I said, you will doing a whole lot of backtracking. And if you get lost, you will even do more backtracking on top of that. So it's super fun. But another thing, and when it comes to this part as well, when you're in the mines, when you started solving a lot of the puzzles in Pinedale, but also starting to solve the puzzles that exist within the mines, you will get to a new part of the game, which is kind of unique for the gameplay itself. It kind of draws away from the more action part that you have when you're walking around firing stars at them. We will just focus on one thing: kart riding. And this is kind of a frustrating part, just like the Donkey Kong Country minecart trips. But we will have another type of kart here, because young Merlin would basically skateboard this thing. And yeah, it will continue to just drive around, and you will be listening to railboarding. this was railboarding. So basically you're skateboarding on the rails within the mines, and you will be doing this 3 times throughout this game. So if you don't like it the first time, buckle up, because you're not gonna enjoy none of the other ones either. And that was the case for me. Apparently, because I got so frustrated at this part, you will be listening to the first 30 seconds for a couple of times in the beginning, because you don't really understand what's going on. The first thing that basically happens is young Merlin is pushing a cart, and you just drive into a wall, and you don't know what happened, what am I supposed to do, and then you need to retry it again. It's like playing Mario Bros. For the first time, and you run into the Goomba, and then you understand, oh, there's other buttons on this controller. But in this case, it's like, how? I have other buttons, but they don't really do anything. But apparently you just need to use the D-pad for Merlin to basically grind his way through these mines. So it's kind of a frustrating part. And for people who like making, what would I say? Like, if you like making maps for rooms, for retro games and stuff like that, when you're moving around, then you might like this part a lot, because you need to understand how everything is set up in order to kind of come through it and solve the puzzle, which is the railboarding through the whole mine. Because you need to get from one end to the other. And yeah, in the beginning, I actually sat down and tried to solve this by myself for 30 minutes, but then I got so super frustrated, I just I need to look at the map or something, because I'm not getting this. I guess I'm too stupid. So I started looking at maps people have made, and there's no map within this game where it's like, this is the correct path. They actually just did, this is the map, now solve it yourself. And I got even more frustrated with this game, because I didn't understand. And also, the map that I found for this game, it was flawed, so it didn't really show everything either. So I got super confused. How am I supposed... Because when you're looking at... like a maze game, when you're looking at the full A4 maze on a paper, one way you can actually go about it is actually work it backwards. You're starting from the middle instead and going out into the starting point. Or you can just go from the starting point and do multiple mistakes, which is also kind of a way. So when I looked at this map for this game, I started actually from the end. I was like, I'll be going into a wall over here. I can't process this. This doesn't work. This is flawed. And then I actually had to go in and look at a walkthrough of the game for this specific puzzle. And at that point, I got through it finally. I was like, yes, I can finally continue to play the game. And then I actually started having fun with the game again after being so frustrated with this part. And apparently this person who was playing it, he was super intuitive in showing how it's done and how to get different power-ups and such that you can collect along the way. So when I utilized his video, I actually enjoyed listening, and apparently when it comes to the minecart problem and solutions here, either you really do enjoy these ones or you don't. And for my part, I really didn't. It was just super tedious. You will be listening to the start of railboarding over and over again because you're failing all the time. And you really don't understand why. And sometimes it's just smaller mistakes. And this will also keep just getting more and more tedious. And we will go through this when we talk about the later part of the game. But after you've done the rail part in the mines, you will basically open up the new area, which will be the underwater area. And here, when it comes to Merlin can not breathe underwater, but with the help of fantastic mermaids, he can kiss and gain more, like, air bubbles. This part, everything is shown by 3 bubbles, and they keep getting smaller and smaller, and when you don't have any bubbles left, young Merlin will die pretty quickly. I mean, if he died fast of the plants, he would, like, instantly die here, but he's not dying instantly. He's still losing HP before going down to 0 and then dying. But as well, just like the railboarding, you will keep just having... You will never basically get the game over. You will just die, and then you will respawn at the latest or earliest checkpoint. So there is nothing really bad about this game when it comes to that part. You will have passwords within this game. You get those at certain acts within this game. When you're done certain parts of the game, you will get passwords, and these are basically explained by a giant lady that just pops up and speaks password. She doesn't speak any language or anything at all. It's just password. And when I saw it the first time, I was super confused. It actually took me a couple of seconds to, oh, this is passwords, because it was just LR, 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 BA, stuff like that. So it felt just weird. I was like, am I supposed to click all this or something like that? But no, you just press start and it just continues. At that part, when you keep dying over and over again, it really doesn't matter that much. You will just replay a little bit of the game. It's not like you will replay 10 minutes of gameplay and stuff like that. And these passwords are just utilized to get to the save point that you reached. So just getting to one save point, you can note that password down, and then you can stop playing and then get back. You will point in, and as I said, there is no main theme in this one. You actually need to head into the game and then press the select button, where you will basically get this harp menu. And in this harp menu, you can actually just print in your password and then continue your game. So when you're getting to this mermaid underwater part, you'll be starting getting more and more tedious part of the game, but at the same time there are some really good parts later in the game as well. But looking at the water part, you're so limited, so you kind of need to figure out the optimal path quite fast within this game, because you will go into these crevices and you don't know, because through these crevices the mermaids will appear, but you don't know if it will be a mermaid or a piranha plant, not a piranha plant, but a piranha fish. And these fishes will go around and chase you as long as you're alive, or you kill them with the star attack. But during this part, you don't know if you're on the right path or not. So as long as you keep finding the mermaids, you're on the right path, and you kind of notice this quite fast. But sometimes there are multiple crevices, and you just need, it's like a pick a path. So if you're picking the wrong one, you're basically going to die, because you won't be able to have enough time to go to the right crevices to find and kiss the mermaid. But yeah, lots of trial error over again, the tedious part of young Merlin. But yeah, after you've done to solve all the puzzles for the wizard with this underwater part, you will be getting more power-ups, which enables you to more easily navigate through the underwater part. But also, after you're through this part, you will get to the mysterious castle, which is basically it's defended by the dwarves, and the dwarves you will start meeting in the mines already. But here you will start meeting them within their natural habitat, which is the mysterious castle. So we will listen to the music that will be playing throughout this session of this game, and it's also called just Mysterious Castle. And that was the Mysterious Castle, and yeah, the tune itself was quite mysterious. I don't know, for me, when I listened to this one, I don't know why, but I kind of tempted to draw my mind to Winnie the Pooh for some reason, because there is one, I think it was one of the first movies when you have these honey elephants that kind of go around and steal honey, and always when I'm listening or thinking about Disney, there's something going on with me, and I'm always tend to go back to that song that plays in that movie. So it's always like dum 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 dum, and it's exactly the thing I hear in the background of this tune, and it just bugs me out a little bit. But I really did enjoy the Mysterious Castle theme here. So when you're walking around in the Mysterious Castle, there's a lot of puzzles going on here. First of all, you actually need to solve a giant puzzle in the beginning, which in my opinion was super hard, because you really need to keep in mind of details yet again here. So when you get in, you will be moving around, and you will starting to push different pillars. And these pillars are basically, they need to be pushed to buttons. And these buttons can be found on different kind of places. And when you push down all the buttons with these pillars that you're pushing around, then you will solve that puzzle. And in Mysterious Castle, there are 3 puzzles to solve within that kind of has these pillars in core. And also one thing that I haven't already talked about, when you're playing young Merlin, one thing that kind of, I would say, enforces the backtracking is when you find these crystals. These crystals have the same color as the rainbow, so you will be collecting a lot of these crystals. But in Mysterious Castle you will find, if I remember correctly now, the green crystal. Or the green gem. And all these gems, when you find them, you know that you need to go back to the beginning of the game in the vast plains, where you woke up. Because when you have a gem and you walk to the bridge, you can actually toss this gem inside or into the pond, the rainbow pond. And when you toss these gems in, the rainbow will keep filling up and have the colors kind of permanently there, and you will also gain items. I don't remember exactly which item you get here. If I do remember one that you do get here, it is the mirror. The mirror is basically an item that creates a copy of young Merlin, but this copy can't really do anything. He kind of does the same animation depending on what you're doing. So if you're attacking, he's doing the attack pattern, but it doesn't get any projectiles. But at the same time, all the enemies are always attacking this replica or duplicate of Merlin. So he doesn't really take that much damage or any damage at all. So you have enemies just being aggressive against something that doesn't really do anything. So it is a really good thing to keep yourself alive with, and from this point when you get this item, you will be starting to utilize it even more, and more, and more. But yeah, I really did enjoy the puzzles that were in the Mysterious Castle. It's one of these push-a-block kind of puzzles that I do enjoy, and I really did enjoy this part, because it made me feel really smart, but at some point it actually made me feel stupid at the same time. But I really do enjoy that. Even though I kind of feel stupid sometimes, I really do enjoy when I solve that problem and start feeling smart again. I was like, oh, it was so simple, but yet I'm kind of making something harder than it actually is. But I guess that goes basically for every type of game. There's a lot of us, most likely, that does these problems. But after you've been into the Mysterious Castle, you're getting the last gem as well. And when you collect the last gem, you're getting 2 items. And the most important item you do get here is the rainbow gem. The rainbow gem is actually utilized to activate the portal that we had in Pine Dale. And yeah, usually when you get to different kind of parts, especially when you get to the rainbow gem, you get these kind of meanwhile cinematics. And these meanwhile cinematics are basically a way to tell a story. And when you collected the gem here, the rainbow gem, you get a meanwhile cinematic where all the inhabitants, or the good inhabitants of Pinedale, gets kidnapped and tossed into this portal. And when they get tossed into this portal, it's by these gnomes yet again, which are hilarious still. And they're really weird when they're kind of taking away the prisoners, because they kind of just make everything harder for themselves as well, just like I am doing with puzzles sometimes. But they actually utilizes a rainbow gem, so you kind of know the connection while looking at this. Meanwhile, that you need this gem to go here, and after you've seen that, meanwhile, you know you need to go back to Pinedale, you need to utilize the gem to go through the portal, and when it is open, you will start utilizing and solving a lot of puzzles there again. And from here, you will go into crevices and heading into an ant kind of hive, going through there. There's also a couple of spiders sometime coming in. But you will go back and forth between Pinedale and this rainbow world. And after you solve all the puzzles over there, and you will do a whole lot of puzzles, but these are a little bit more simple, however, when you move around, because they're more straightforward than some other puzzles. It's not that much of a trial and error kind of thing. You just need to explore and find these wooden hearts, and these wooden hearts will do another part, if you do remember what I said before in the episode. But yeah, after you solve all those things, you will start meeting a dragon. Defeating the dragon will also grant you the path to the last part of the game. And this is the Shadow King's castle. And it's not so far. We're actually at the end of the game here. And so we kind of have speedrun through everything. I haven't told anything. I haven't really done that much of a spoiler alert throughout this game, because everything kind of moves along and doesn't really impact on the game itself. You're playing this game because you're interested in solving puzzles and just moving around and getting things going. You're not playing this part because, well, you if you're kind of that thorough that I'm not gonna play a game because I know these people will get kidnapped, then I would say you need a little bit more perspective, I would say. This doesn't do that much. I know for me, myself, I wouldn't care that much for this part, because solving the puzzles are the most important thing in this game. You're playing it for that part. And when you get to this ending, you will get to the Shadow King. You will actually meet him for the first time in the mysterious castle. But here you will have the final showdown with the Shadow King. And you will play through multiple kind of stages. You will try to solve the different kind of puzzles that comes with it. But the most frustrating part about this game when it comes to the Shadow King is that most of his attacks are instant kills, which basically just returns you to the front door and you need to do it all again. So yeah, the song you will be listening to for the last tune for this week is The Demon Returns. The last track of the week, The Demon Returns. So this is the last song you're basically hearing within this game, while playing it at least. Ha! There's actually a last giant cinematic when you're getting to the end of the game, like usually when you see credit screens and so on. But yeah, this one actually has a really strong Zelda vibe to it. I don't know about you guys, but for me, I'm thinking about like castle themes, like Hyrule Castle and stuff like that. It has this darkness over it. I really do enjoy the kind of edge it kind of gives. I really do enjoy that one. But yeah, as I said, when it comes to the last boss here, he really feels, the Shadow King really feels like a cheap shot type of boss. And there's yet again, you need to kind of solve the puzzle on how to defeat him. There were multiple times I had to replay him over and over again. I think I played through him like... Not through him, but I needed to replay him like almost 10 to 12 times at least. And most of it was because I didn't really pay attention to what I had and what I could do. At one point I actually was like, what am I supposed to do? And I got instant kill over and over again. I really didn't understand anything at all. And then it just hit me. I was like, why am I not using this item? It feels so obvious when this happens. And yeah, and that was the solution to it. So I really think that if you have a sense of detail and you really like the details that you have in the world and what you have in your inventory, I think this would be a really great game. And well, you might not like the minecart areas because, as I said, there's 3 of them in this game. So you actually have one in the mines, you have one in the Dwarven Palace that you need to solve, and then there's one in the Shadow King Palace. And these are kind of leveling up all the time. So the first time, everything is just like normal. It's just on the rails. You need to just twist and turn all the time to go the right path. But in the second castle, the rail starts breaking, so you need to kind of thrift back and forth so the wheels of the cart doesn't go over the broken part, because then you just die. And then in the third one, which is basically before you get into the last palace part, you are basically having like springs that kind of throws you off and about, and you need to kind of go the right way at the right time and still avoid. So they actually added just springs so you can go back and forth the different type of path to kind of get to doors that you need to get to. And yeah, there's a whole lot of things that I can go into detail within this game, but I don't, as I said, I don't want to spoil the good parts about this game. And just listening to this music and hearing me talking about my own, like, almost spoiler-free kind of talk, I sure hope you guys might get interested in playing this game as well. I'm not entirely recommending this game. I'm still giving this game a thumbs up. I did enjoy the music. As my friend and old colleague said that I might do, he did recommend it for game and for the music. So playing through this game, overall I found the stuff I started to find frustrating. I found really frustrating at the end of the game. The backtracking part weren't that fun, but just going back and forth and solving these puzzles kind of makes it worth it. Just like you're getting like a new power-up in a Super Metroid game, for example, or in Metroid, not specifically Super Metroid, but yeah, you have these backtracking all the time. You're walking to right, you get one power-up, and with that power-up you can go even further to the left, and you just keep walking to the left, so you're going back and forth all the time. Everybody who are an avid gamer knows this kind of stuff. This has happened not once, not twice. It's just happened too many times. Either you will like backtracking because it kind of either brings it down a little bit to the down low, and you can just chillax and not do that much more than that is to it. But yeah, I really did enjoy this game in the end, even though I had to look up some of these. For the minecart, I really definitely needed to look up some walkthroughs because I didn't want to get that much of a frustrated. I think I would have gotten to a point where I actually stopped playing the game when I got frustrated, but I actually played and tried them before heading to the walkthroughs that helped me get through them. So I actually wanted to give it a try before getting the help, so to speak. But yeah, that was it. That is the game, basically. It took me about 4 hours to play through. No, 5 hours to play through. I think a generic usually is for 3 hours, but that just explains how bad I am at riding minecarts and having a sense of detail. But yeah, that is it for this episode. I sure hope you like the music. But yeah, So other episodes of Finally Game Music, you'll find those on our homepage, videospelsklubben.se. You also found them on Spotify or in your closest podcast app. Feel free to follow and comment on one of our social medias. That would be either Facebook or Instagram. Just search for Finally Game Music and just go wild there. So if you would like to hear your name within one of these episodes, then feel free to request a song for an upcoming episode by commenting on any of the social pages or through our Videospelsklubben.se's Discord. You'll find the link on the main page and everything with Videospelsklubben.se. And also you can support this podcast for future content and quality upgrades, but also in the end, future composers by becoming a Patreon for Finally Game Music. And our current awesome backers today is Mikael Sjöberg, Andreas Nilsson, and Daniel Onemark. Thank you so much for spreading the love and supporting this podcast. And for those who are more long kind of backers, you also get some free merch as well. So I know I've been mailing out some mugs right now, and that goes for everybody, even for the $1 tier as well. When you get up to a specific amount of money, then definitely you're going to get some sort of merch as well. For other backers that have been backing this podcast before and sadly not now, but that is okay. Everyone is unique and special, and every time somebody is joining in as a backer and a Patreon backer, I just find so much love for it that you want to support the work I'm doing, but also what I want to kind of do in the future as well. But yeah, there have been t-shirts going out with Finally Game Music design and everything. And also, as a little kind of pointers out as well right now, I'm trying to figure out a good name for this podcast. Basically, the English version of this podcast name is basically just it's basically just the specific, like, literal conversion of the Swedish name, and I don't really find it that kind of oomph with the name, so I'm still kind of figuring out a good name for the podcast. So if you guys have any suggestion that you want to name this podcast, feel free to actually mail it to me or message it to me. I would be really happy to hear your suggestions if you have any. But yeah, since this is a retro game, there aren't really any information or download links for the music here, and there's no CDs either, sadly. And no Spotify links or anything, so there won't be any links so you can support these composers who've been working on this soundtrack. This is pretty sad when it comes to all the part, but that's just how it is. But the next theme we're going with, and I actually got this inspiration from the Super Marcato Bros. They actually did a couple of episodes where they just based games that were released from a specific year. And I basically just want to go with the theme of games from the year I was born to kind of get a good glimpse. And I kind of want to challenge myself as well. So I want to challenge myself by playing songs from games from 1988, which is the year I was born, but from different consoles. So I can't repeat any console. And also, I will try my best to also try and get different genres as well. So there are pressure on me here, and hopefully I will be picking a couple of tracks maybe from games I actually haven't played, because I'm a little bit unsure of how many games that I released the year I was born that I have actually played in the end. I'm a little bit unsure, so this is just super interesting. So if you have any games, you can just search for games that got released in 1988, and just look at if there are any games that you played or any soundtracks that you really enjoy. And if you find anything, feel free to just request it for the next episode. And as per usual, the deadlines are always set on Wednesdays. So feel free, if you listen to this and have time to request a song, feel free to do so. I'm always excited to see what you have. And if you don't have time to request anything till the deadline, feel free to just share it in the Discord channel or in the comment section for any of the social medias. And with that said, I wish everybody to have a really great week, and I hope you're not getting frustrated by any puzzle you find in real life as I did with the minecart puzzles. And with that said, have a great week, everybody, and see you guys next time.